All right, the next movement that we're going to talk about is the hang clean. As I already talked about in the last video, the front squat is a prerequisite for that. So that's something that I want my athletes to master before we really get into much work on the hang clean. Now, I want to also teach the hip hinge movement early on. So we'll start with RDLs, and that's usually where I begin my hang clean progression. I got Taylor here with me again to help me. He doesn't have much hang cleaning experience, so this will actually be some real teaching. Also, please excuse the UVA shirt that he chose to wear today. So, I always want to emphasize that my athletes are picking it up right, even though we're not actually going to do this in the hang clean, even though it's more of the power clean. But a lot of times you see athletes, the bar's on the ground, they casually walk over, they pick it up like this, and then they wonder why their back is hurting, even though they didn't do anything that was really all that back related. So I always want to encourage them to pick it up right. So I want their chest up, I want their back flat, and I want them picking it up more like a deadlift, which we'll teach in just a second. So, first movement for the hang clean that we're always going to work on is RDL because I want the hip hinge pattern to be used right. So, chest is going to stay up. I call them soft knees. I don't want their knees to bend like a squat. However, I want their knees to be able to bend. So, we're going to push the butt back and slide the bar down our thighs. It should stay right on the thighs. Now, for the purpose of the hang clean, we only really need to get to the top of the knees. From there, we're just pushing our hips back forward to stand it up. So this is the first step of our hang clean, is the RDL. All right, go ahead and give me a couple, Taylor. Good. Slide. And what we do with this is we call it covering the bar. We're looking over the ledge. So I want to make sure that his shoulders are reaching out in front of the bar, that they're not behind the bar. Good. If they're behind the bar, he's squatting it up and down, which isn't going to transfer that well to his hang clean. However, we want him to cover the ledge, go over the ledge, or cover the bar. All right, you can drop the bar every time that he goes. So the way that we describe it is if you come up to look over the side of a building that's got a railing on it, you're not going to squat down to look over the building because you're not going to see anything. Instead, you're going to shift your weight back a little bit so that you can still look out over it and not fall forward. It's the exact same thing with the bar. We want to cover the bar in our RDL position, and then we'll come back. Second part, we're going to add in the clean pull. So with the clean pull, we're now adding an explosive upward part to the RDL along with a shrug. The big thing with the clean pull is that it is not a shrug. The shrug is not generated from the shoulders. The shrug is generated because the bar is already moving up from your hips. So with the clean pull, where we're at, we're going to go down. We're then going to accelerate with the hips upward, and we're also going to come up onto the toes and then shrug. So we'll come here. The big thing that I don't want to see with the clean pull that you usually see the most is the bar flying forward. We want our hips to generate the power upwards. We want to come all the way up to our toes. We want our hips to send us onto our toes. It's not a calf raise. It's not a squat with a calf raise. It's basically an RDL followed by part of a jump. So it's on you. So we're going to slide the bar down our thighs, keep it close to us. Good. Shoulders in front of the bar. Now accelerate the hips up and onto the toes. Good. 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 Now with Taylor, one thing I'm noticing with him is he's flirting with turning it into a squat. His shoulders are slightly in front of the bar, but as he goes with each rep, he starts to get a little bit farther back behind the bar, so that's something we'll touch on as we continue. The next step, we'll go to the high pull. So now we're going to add in the elbows. With this one, the most important thing is keeping the bar near you and also remembering that it's not an upright row. It is in fact coming from the hips. Everything we want to do comes from the hips. So everything stays the same as our RDL and our clean pull, except now we're going to finish with the elbows high. So we're sliding it down. Then from there, we're accelerating the hips, shrugging, and bringing our elbows up high. Big thing with that, a lot of athletes will then completely forget the shrug part. However, the shrug is going to give us a lot more speed than if we simply roll our elbows very high. So accelerate with the hips, still shrug, Bring the elbows high to finish. Bar should stay close to you. It shouldn't fly out in front of you. So, shoulders in front of the bar. Good. 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 And you don't even have to go down as slowly as that because it's essentially a jumping movement. So when you jump, you don't go with this slow load and then blast off. You load and you go. So on your downward part, it can be a lot faster. It should all be explosive. Those shoulders in front of the bar. Explode. Get those elbows high. There we go. Good. Good. All right. You stop. Now, the last part is the catch. So there's two things that I want to emphasize with the catch. One thing is that when we catch, we always want to land in front squat position. All right. Now with that, we're always going to land in a front squat that's slightly wider stance than our clean pull was. So with our clean pull, our RDL, our high pull, we're all shoulder width apart. But once we get to those toes, we're stomping our feet out wider. All right. So what I'll usually do is we'll have them come in and we will just work on stomping. So what I want you to do is jump and try to stomp as fast as you can. So feet shoulder width apart, imitate the movement, stomp, walking back in. So go ahead and do 5 stomps. Good. Don't worry about the arms for now. All I want is the feet. Good. So get your butt back every time. We want to land in front squat position. Don't want to land with the hips out front. Good. A little more extension on the top part. So come up and then get back down. Up and then back down. Good. Come all the way up. You're still shortening. Still shortening. I want you to come up like you're doing a clean pull and then drop down. Gotcha. So get up before you get down. That's better. Okay. So now we've worked on that. There's a few different ways to go about teaching the catch. One way that I've seen that works for a lot of people, we'll set the bar up at about catch position. They'll start out in front of the bar. We'll go from elbows high to catching under. Elbows high to catching under. Elbows high, catching under. That's one method. It works especially a lot better with girls because you've got a 45-pound bar. With some girls, especially if they're just starting hang clean, 45 pounds is going to be challenging to hold. For most guys, it's going to be pretty easy, so you can use this method instead. You can start at the top of the high pull and then drop under. The big cue that I use for that is I want to shoot the elbows. I want to punch the elbows forward. So biggest thing you see with people who don't know how to hang clean is that they reverse curl it. So the bar comes up, it goes out in front of them, and then they swing their elbows underneath. So the catch might look fine, but everything in between was wrong. Instead, we want it to go up and the elbows to get underneath and rotate. The hardest thing to learn about that for most kids is that they're holding onto the bar so hard that they can't relax their fingers to get up underneath it. The bar should land right across the shoulders. Even if it lands a little bit low, I want my athletes to force it the rest of the way even after the catch has been done. So what I want you to do, we're gonna do the drop under this style. I want you to come to the top of your high pull and drop yourself under the bar and shoot your elbows forward. So high pull, drop and shoot your elbows forward. So even if your elbows don't get there, go ahead and finish anyway. So you should catch at the bottom of your, well, not the full bottom of the front squat, but part way down in front squat. So start with elbows high. And another note on the high pull, you can see where his elbows are. They're right directly above the bar. A lot of times when we're high pulling, people let their elbows, their wrists get out in front of their elbows. The bar get out in front of them. We don't want that. We want those elbows right above the bar, just like you have right there. So elbows are above the bar. Now drop down. See where your elbows are at right now. I want them here. So when you drop, you're basically rotating your hands around and getting into that comfortable front squat position. You don't have to hold it. You're going to catch it on your shoulders anyway. All right? So elbows high, drop down. That's much better. Good. Now drop down, get that butt back. There we go. Good. Make sure that butt moves backwards. We never want to catch here because what you'll end up is once it gets heavier and heavier, you'll end up here. Instead, we want to be here so we can always stand it up. There we go. Good. Go ahead and give me 3 more good ones. Good. And last one. Good. All right, now on the catch position, one thing we want to make sure is that we are in good front squat position. It's very often that people catch and their weight is pressed forward because they get caught up at the top part, they can't get back fast enough, so they end up forward with the knees bent. We always want to make sure we're in good front squat position, so the same cues go for the catch position as for a front squat. We still want the weight evenly distributed through the feet, maybe a little bit biased toward the heels. We don't want the heels off the ground. We don't want the hips out in front. We want the butt back. We want the back flat. We want the chest up. All the same exact cues apply for the front squat as when you're catching the ankle. All right, now we're gonna move on. We're gonna put it all together. So, with our hand clean, we'll review through the steps. RDL, cover the bar, look over the ledge. Throw the hips, shrug the shoulders, elbows come high, pop the feet, we drop under, shoot our elbows forward. So, RDL, then we're gonna do high shrug, elbows high, pop the feet, drop under. All right, it's on you, Joe. Elbows high, shoot elbows. Not bad, let's get those elbows more high. So really shoot them forward. Even if you catch here, I want you to finish them up. Gotcha. There we go. Good. So let's get that butt back on the catch. Good. Start with those feet in about another hair, right there. Good. Good. Now that time, we did this.
Right.
Make sure we're covering that bar every single time. There we go. Much better. Elbows high, then shoot the elbows. Good. All right. And that is the hand clean.